Well, entrepreneurs, today is a day that many of you have asked, especially in our 5-hour live stream, for a day in the life. So here we are taking a look at what I do in a day. And this is coming in advance of Vlogmas, which is vlog every day until Christmas. So up until December 25th, which I'm going to be doing this year. Last time I did Vlogmas was in 2018, and in the midst of that, my Canon M50 broke, and I was doing the Canon M50 series at that time. And so it was interesting to document and capture what those things were like and what the days were like, and just trying to get a feel for how I would do that. And my perspective on Vlogmas now is very different. So it's interesting to be doing a day in the life ahead of that, just to kind of show you what the day is like before. So just kind of thinking through my thoughts around that. But it's later in the day now, and I just finished up a client call, and that went very, very well. So client consultations are something that I offer on my website. You can do 30-minute sessions, or you can do 1-hour sessions. If you're doing so this one was a 1-hour session, which it went extremely well, which all of them do. And I'm super excited to just go through and help people. But each of those are blocked down into time blocks. So doing that allows for me to be able to make sure that all the calls, they go through their specific time block. They have the proper expectations set for how this call is going to run. Again, it's all about honoring their time and honoring my time, because a lot of times I have clients scheduled, like for this one, I had this one, and then I have later in the day, I have another call scheduled. But I thought I needed to do one with my accountant, but I don't have to. And so that opened up some time freedom. But I try to make sure that there's plenty of scheduling time and a buffer between this activity and the next activity, so that I'm not running over, I'm not having any challenges, but so that they also, again, have proper expectations for here's how the call is going to run, so that we're not wasting either of our times. So when the call is ending, it's just like, okay, we're at our wrap-up time and whatever. So it's not like I'm rushing them or being disrespectful. I'm always very careful about making sure getting the needs met and the reason for talking, versus like, hey, let's just chat it up and talk about gear for this whole call. And it's like, that's not the reason why we're here. So now I have gone through all my emails, checked all of the comments and stuff like that. That's something that's super duper important to me, is to be replying to comments. But something that I'm adamant about is not having notifications on for anything, because when I have dedicated focused time to actually do work, I need to actually have that time dedicated and focused to do work. So if I'm picking up my phone or something like that, I'm going there for a reason. Just so like Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs or stuff like that, I'll have dedicated time when I'll sign in and go look at that stuff and reply, and then I'm done. And then I'll have dedicated time to go and reply to my YouTube comments, and then I'm done. And then I'll follow up with emails, which usually is something I do first thing in the morning. Today was a little bit different, just because yesterday I just was not feeling really good. So things that typically I do on a Sunday-ish, just to kind of, prepare for the following week, it just was not happening, and I was not feeling good. And then that kind of started Saturday evening-ish or afternoon-ish, and it just was a hard weekend, so physically for me. So I just needed to take that time and rest. So I give myself some grace when I can't do things in a certain order, which means I couldn't get the podcast recorded like I wanted to. So now that's what I'm going to focus on doing, is recording, editing, and uploading the podcast for today. So I can do my podcast in here in Final Cut Pro 10 because it has a record voiceover feature. And so I have all of my settings and stuff like that dialed in on Final Cut Pro, so I can actually use this to edit my podcast. It has, any intros and stuff like that already blocked out, in addition to some other things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get and I understand that some people really like to use different stuff. Even I got a Zoom H6 right there if I wanted to use it, and just testing some different things out, but I kind of don't. I like what I like and what works for me, and it's systematic. And so, yeah, so I'm gonna record the podcast. Look into these longer term solutions, especially if you're somebody like me. You're getting into a lot of video content, a lot of storage, and these external SSDs eventually will fill up. And I promise you, 8 terabytes, which is 8,000 gigabytes, honestly, isn't that much space. So consider some longer term solutions. So once I bring this into recording, I have these markers here, which you double click on them in Final Cut. You can change them to whatever. So I don't have them listed as anything specific. I just know exactly how I want to do it and break up the editing. So when it comes in, it comes into the intro. And so that's kind of low. So what I'll do before I chop up any of this stuff is I have my own podcast stuff set up here as an effect. Bring in my podcast stuff so it'll automatically increase the gain, add a little denoiser, add a compressor. All those settings, I have that saved as its own thing for processing. All that stuff is because video is images and audio. So it has plenty of audio editing features. What is up, entrepreneurs? Welcome back to the Video Simplified podcast with me, your hostess with the mostess, Diana Gladney. And in today's episode, okay, so once I'm done with that, this spot up here is usually just to kind of take up the rest of the clips. Because usually, so that clip won't make any noise because it'll be, because holiday deals are coming up, it'll be even. All of this is now audio compression, all the stuff is there. I don't need this particular one today, so I can take those out, and those are just blanks to be filled in. Because I didn't make any mistakes that I want to take out or anything. It's really, you'll see like that solid audio bar. It's just continuous talking. Because I hit the points like I wanted to. So it's a one take, one done kind of deal. So just chopping off the part. So intro, the middle, which is the meat, and then the outro. So no point in me using this interlude music today because I don't have a transition point. But that's there for the next time that I need it. So now I go up here and I'm going to export this audio. I already got the title in there. Just go to audio only. I use MP3. Again, all of my compression settings, all the things that I want done are already done there. And then go into VSP Podcast. All right, so that's it. So editing my podcast literally takes seconds to do. And even if I did have a part for an interlude, I would see exactly where that part is because I stopped talking. I give a break in the audio. So any continuous talking, I know I want to edit something when I have the audio levels drop all the way down. And you're not seeing any of those bars to show talking is happening. All right, so it's 1 o'clock. Podcast is done. It's uploaded. It's live. So that's something else off the checklist. It's already, getting into the afternoon and I have not eaten. And even though my stomach is grumbling, it's not that I don't have time. I'm not really making time to stop and to eat today. Sometimes I just prefer to just grab a protein shake or meal replacement shake or whatever. Helps me get in extra vitamins and stuff like that, in addition to the multivitamins I take. If I really needed to take pain reliever today, I would have to eat. But because I'm able so far to get through the day and not have to take any pain reliever, I try to go as long as possible. But also listening to my body and what it needs. So if I need pain reliever, I'll take some, and I'll take some in advance without letting it get bad. If I don't, I'll kind of extend out the workday or honestly try to get through it without eating. But this is some nourishment, and so protein shakes for the win. Alrighty, change of plans. I am actually going to go get lunch. It is now almost 2 o'clock, 15 minutes till. Yeah, I can feel my iron levels, they are just depleted at this point. And yeah, so I'm gonna go get some chili, I think, from Wendy's. That's gonna tickle my fancy. And so guess we're heading out today, but I wasn't intending on it even after the protein shake, have my vitamin. I guess I just need a little bit more, which is fine. But yeah, so make some space and actually eat some chili today. That usually does a good job of helping me with some food stuff. So let's head out. So one thing I always do, which is not this, but I definitely want to hurry up so I can get back to listening to my book. But I'll always get, if I'm listening to a physical book or reading a physical book, I'm always listening to the audiobook version, for real, in the car, like nonstop. Or if it's a time where I actually can't read, then I should be able to pick up from where I left off at in the audiobook. And so it's just extremely helpful to be learning, turn the car into drive time university and really learn the whole time, as much as I can, just to maximize my time. So that's like my go-to. So I'm gonna put this back down and get back to bringing y'all along for the day.
Welcome, just looking at something.
Yes, can I have a large chili, please?
A large chili, any cheese or onion?
Something else that I do when I am kind of, trying to make sure that I'm okay physically, and what to do is if I'm not, even when it comes to my health, same way like I do with my business, I'm real big on efficiency and systems. And so like if I notice that I'm tanking, like I'm going in the negative in a bad way, that maybe I can't deal with that by myself. With my mom and dad, like I have code words. So if I'm at a point to where, like sometimes it'll get real bad with just the pain and just everything, I'll get to the point that I can't function anymore and I cannot really think and I cannot process, which feels extremely frustrating. And it's just really awkward to not be able to form competent sentences because the pain is excruciating. So what I'll do with my parents, or like when I would work, I tell them, like, I don't care, do whatever you got to do, right up. Like I don't care to the extent of whatever. I am leaving. I need to leave, and I am leaving. Whether you authorize it or not is up to you. But this is what I'm about to do. And because I didn't play around with, making excuses or lying and pretending something is wrong when it's not, and I made it well known that, not as an excuse kind of a thing, but just like, this is something I deal with, and I have to go as much as anybody else, and it's an emergency. And, so I would call my parents, let them know, like, hey, I'm leaving work, but I'm not going home. I'm coming over there because I need help, or whatever the case. Or I would have them pick me up. And so, that way somebody can get my car or whatever the case is, and that way I can get help. So, just having those efficiency systems, even for my health, it makes a huge difference. If I need to cancel everything, I have no problems with saying that, and making arrangements and, all those different things if something happens. I just try to make sure as best as I can. I watch myself, get familiar with my own patterns and behaviors and stuff that I need to do just to stay safe. So lunch was great. It's been some time now. Kind of let my food digest and get some, just a little bit of downtime to just, kind of, relax a little bit after I ate, and then came back in here to work. And so I'm editing a micro piece that I'm getting ready to upload as a reel, which all of my other reels have been slightly different than my other content. This is kind of more something that's more me, as far as, not that the other content isn't, but this one is just more like an educational bit. So I guess I will pull you in because it's something interesting that Final Cut released in one of their last updates that's really, really neat, and it's making editing content a whole lot easier. All right, so in Final Cut Pro, I have my layers, I have my text and stuff like that, and I just have it set up the way I want. But if I will take and make all of these layers invisible, then you'll notice this little graphic frame here. So I created this based off of what IGTV actually has set up here. And so if I'm doing something that is super tall, which is the 1080 by 1920 frame, then I created this frame so it'll say the IGTV frame here, and then like the vertical feed is going to be this much, and then the profile grid and the thumbnail area is going to be this much. So when I turn back on all of my images and videos and stuff like that, I'll know, actually not that particular clip or that portion of it, I think it's this one. Yeah, I want to get rid of that one so I can delete that. So that way I know the text is small enough or big enough to fit within the frame. If I want to move that down a little bit, I can, just to make it a little bit, make sure everything fits a little bit more evenly, so that this text up here has enough space to breathe. And so those guidelines will let me know. And so I go to view, show custom overlay for how thick or thin I want it to be. If I want it to be that full, I do not. So put that back at 25. Well, I think it's like 50%. Yeah, that's fine. And then going to, and there's one for YouTube to IGTV, one for the IGTV grid. And if I don't want to turn that off, or if I do want to turn that off, then now I know that this is perfectly sized for this. And so now I'll be able to get this set up exactly the way I want. Yeah, so now I got everything set up the way I want with the text, and this is going to go over for an Instagram reel, and it'll be perfectly sized based on that grid. So this is where I don't care what anybody says, like Mac computers and just the ability to airdrop this to my phone makes this process super seamless. So I can take this file, send it over to my phone, and boom, it's sent. That is why I love having an iPhone actually working and connected, directly connected with my Mac, because it makes the workflow so much easier. And I just do not have time to sit around and play games about if I need to go over to this app and that app. And it takes, like, even if I did something like Dropbox that synced to my phone and synced to the computer and stuff, it just would take so long. Do nobody have time for that or want to go through that kind of nonsense for something that fast? And 4K videos transfer that fast. It's crazy. The biggest thing at this point, if you're trying to manage a bunch of things, is not trying to become some videographer person. It's really just about creating a system that works for you, that's simple enough that you can do it. And at the time you decide you don't want to do it any longer, it's easy enough that you can teach it to somebody else. Okay, so it is about 40 minutes before my next and last consultation call for today. So usually I have those scheduled for certain days, certain times and stuff like that. So I don't have to worry about a bunch of random stuff. Somebody can't, for example, schedule one tomorrow. It has so many days before they can actually do one. And then also there are other calendars for not just for consultation calls, but for my actual coaching clients that have super more access to me, rather, I'll put it that way. And they can schedule at a faster rate and stuff like that, in addition to other things that I have blocked on my calendar for me to actually do and take care of. But I'm just taking these next several minutes, and I'll just go ahead and wrap up the day in the life vlog at this here, because once that call is over, I'm probably going to shut it down for the day, which is kind of early. But knowing that I already wasn't feeling that great this weekend, I got the iron level stuff together, so I really do need to probably watch that the next couple days. But at the same time, feeling much better. Of course, I've been able to get some work done and all of those good things. And then depending on how it fluctuates, if I go and I stop early, which is just kind of early to me, because sometimes I'm in here till like 8, 9 o'clock, sometimes 11, and I've been in here since the morning. So those days can tend to run run over, and I am okay with that. But if I stop, take a break, come back, even take a nap, and then come back later in the evening if I feel like it, or if there's some things that I want to do, then I'll do that. But I think today I'm going to take it easy and go ahead and get some rest, just so I can really not push my body a lot right now. Again, just because having a pretty hard weekend physically for whatever reason. So that's where I'm going to leave it for you people that have wanted to see what I do in a day. I hope that you got some value out of seeing me just kind of work through it, process it. This is more kind of like a half admin, half creative day. It's not really like a day where I sit and I create content, or I'm planning and scheduling content, but I am going to take some time in my journal, go through some thoughts and things that I have while I'm just taking some time away from the screen to actually just really focus on some paper, and then just kind of relax until my last call here in a bit. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.